This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
That's what my head is for that. Now, I was going to just mention to you, because, and I said this before, I want to repeat it. We had mentioned that Trump just introduced legislation where they're going to get rid of the three strikes law that the Clintons created, that the Democrats created, that Maxine Waters and John Lewis championed in Congress. Maxine Waters, that's right, and John Lewis and others champion these three strikes laws. Will Maxine Waters support the repeal of these laws, or will she and John Lewis fight for mass black incarceration due to partisan politics? It's a question. And it's interesting that Trump, I don't know if it's Kanye hugging on his raggedy ass or what it is, but somebody got Trump to do something. We need to make certain that happens for us. We still want infrastructure, jobs. We want minimum wage increase. We want killer cops off the street. But this is a start. In fact, what are your thoughts on that, Trump getting rid of the three strikes and you're outlaw?
I think it was a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I hope they put the illegals to jail and let the brothers out. By the way, what do you think of that? Because, to me, your ass don't belong up in here. You're not from here. You have a place to be. You need to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling this. And I'm also not feeling punk-ass Barack Obama, who destroyed the government of Honduras and did his bit to destroy stuff in Nicaragua, which Trump and them have continued. So Nicaragua's going to come up here next. Frankly, Obama spent 8 years destroying the new economic moves in Latin America. I don't know if you heard about what's his name? Bolsonaro, who's the new president of Brazil, who hates black people, and he believes torture's good, and he's a racist Nazi. These people got the support of the U.S. government to come in, but they need to remember that the U.S. supported getting rid of these governments that were trying to do a little bit more for the people. At least they said they were trying to do it. Now they've had these governments that just don't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
So Argentina's got an asshole, Chile's got an asshole, Peru's got an asshole, Brazil's got an asshole. I mean, it's almost like people instead of countries. They all have assholes in power. And they want to get rid of the guy in Venezuela, and that's awful. I mean, not that he's perfect, but, when you try to assassinate the head of the country with drones and such, I mean, you don't expect a crackdown. Can you imagine if a couple of overweight black women climbed over the White House gate and tried to run the White House, how freaked out Trump would be?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, I'm calling for a national emergency. We just need to shut everything down. Because I saw these women, they were really big. I mean, they were huge. They were the biggest women. They were coming from my house. I don't know. I didn't cut their step. I didn't mess with the welfare, even though I wanted to. And they still came for me. I really felt that they disrespected me. and I'm the national security. I want all the black people to stay in their neighborhoods. Or we're going to get them a one-way ticket to Africa, but they're going to pay for it. I'm going to make them pay their way back to Africa. Thanks for the service, but, we can pick our own cotton now. We're good. Real good. Okay. Believe me. Okay. So he would be crazy. So they do this to the government of Venezuela, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't think the president would break down when they want to have drones to some of the president. He should be paranoid. So, Trump gets mad if he has a bad news day. I mean, and he has a little PR woman that looks like Elmer Fudd in drag. What's her name?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Damn, I mean, RuPaul needs to help her get some clothes or something. Damn, I'm talking about Raggedy Ann. I mean, that's an understatement. Please help her dress, Jesus. I mean, Toys R Us went out of business so she can find a new wardrobe somewhere else. I mean, that's just it's awful. I mean, her wardrobe was making the stock market go down. I mean, just people looking at it and say that's the president's spokesperson. And I'm just thinking, wow, all the stuff going on. And I was going to say to you, my brother, the bouncer getting shot, the folk getting shot again. Do you think we're going to have any? Have you noticed Black Lives Matter has been quiet?
Yeah, I haven't even noticed them at all. But yeah, it's funny how they're not really making any type of noise right now.
Yeah, that's because they were being funded by Obama. Now, let me ask you, when you put this thing up, do you think you can put some links up for this Black, White, and Blue?
Yeah.
And I did another film that I don't know if they saw it, but it's called Dred Scott Nation.
Yeah, that came out a couple years ago, right? I remember, seeing it.
Yeah, they should do a retrospective, and because it's gonna get fun, we're gonna do a film on mental illness soon.
Mm-hmm.
One film gets off, so let me see. Oh my God, brother, there's so many. Oh, have you noticed that they got the little lesbian congresswoman from Arizona or senator? So I guess, they got their first carpet buncher. They got their first gay governor in Colorado, but they couldn't get a black female governor yet.
Yeah, it's about the Colorado. I mean, he's out there. He's out there.
There's a thing, I don't know if I mentioned to you, they were putting this thing out here now, and I'm hoping people don't listen. I hope people don't do this. They're saying that it's better for people to put marijuana up their ass than to smoke it. Now, some fool's going to put K2 up their ass. I don't know what that's going to do. just think, oh, my God. And they're going to start putting up fentanyl up there, and there are going to be people dying because, your behind can absorb more stuff than eating it or smoking it. So now people are going to start putting gel caps up there behind. There are going to be overdoses, people get pants full. Well, I guess what you're sagging, it's easy to give yourself a fix. It just slides in there and just, goodness gracious. But can you imagine if some K2 smoked, it fully absorbed, does not fully absorb, makes do that. What will K2 do up there behind? Why would someone want to put drugs up there behind? They put this up in. Remember Eddie Murphy song, put the boogie in your butt, put me in your butt, put a bumblebee in your butt. Now it's going to put me in your butt. That's going to be put weed in your butt. Put a marijuana seed in your butt. Right. Put a K2 tree in your butt. I mean, just, oh, wow. And I'm just thinking, oh, by the way, how do you like Trump got rid of Sessions? We talked about that. We also talked about this guy, Whitaker, who looks like Mr. Freeze with the bad wardrobe. Whitaker. How do you like the way he messed up Memorial Day, like Trump said he loves the soldiers but didn't show up, didn't go to France, even a little punk nigga, Macron. They should just call him Mac Daddy. I don't know if you saw the picture where he was running with looked like male prostitutes in Guadeloupe, and the guy was holding up the finger with the middle finger up, standing next to Macron. I was thinking, I wonder what that means. That was like a Gillum picture. Obama really likes him, so thinking, okay. And wow, I'm just, and we got to talk about this. Don't you think it's Judgment Day in California? They got child prostitution and they made it legal for people to give each other AIDS, so you can give AIDS to anyone you want and you won't get in trouble. And they just picked another homo-fabulous Governor Newsom. He should be called Screwsome or Twosome because he's just wild and out there. And they got all these fires. I mean, this is some vicious stuff. They're saying the chemtrails make the fires burn more rapidly and faster. I don't know. But, man, I'm looking at that. I've seen images of hell. You know, even Caitlyn Jenner, I mean, her sex retirement surgery didn't save her house, although I think they didn't destroy that. But did you see that? You see how they're having all these fires and unnatural weather? I mean, the white on the judgments, you know, you might have the little coon conservative black folks forgive you for all the racism. You may have all the little black liberals who want to hobnob, but, you know, God don't forgive evil.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the fires, and I'm wondering when we're going to have an earthquake and a volcanic eruption. I mean, it's like God is kicking America in the behind.
We saw what happened in Hawaii. People ain't really talk about that anymore.
Yeah, but this is going on. I mean, the volcano hasn't stopped erupting out there, has it?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I'm just now thinking about what you said about the fires in California. Like, there's so much stuff going on right now that people are not paying attention or not asking any follow-throughs or follow-ups.
Well, that's because we're in decline, man, and it's like Trump needs to get up on this infrastructure all this time. Now, you know, I want to stay in touch with you, Herd, because, you know, I've been asked to help get people together for 2019. There are going to be folks going to Ghana, and we're going to be looking at 400 years of having a foot up our ass.
Right. Oh, yeah. Wow.
People are talking about celebration. I told the sister, I'm not celebrating someone's foot up my ass. I mean, I could talk about it, but it's not like I'm going to get out some streamers, you know, and start dancing and, you know, blowing little horns. But anyway, you know, that's going to be interesting. In fact, I think I told you I'm working with this sister that has recyclable Kotex, so you can use them multiple times. You know, I didn't tell you about that?
I mean, I think, you talked about it.
Yeah, now check this out. There are other things that are going on, like, you know, I left this one out. You know that the Clintons right now, that little bitch Hillary Clinton, think about running for president, but she can never be president, but she can be president. She's always been one. They're murdering people in Haiti right now. A lot of killing going on in Haiti is being kept out of the news. And Haiti's about to explode. But they have death squads. The Clintons and others have death squads. It's killing our people. So for all the little coons in your network that likes Hillary, I can't blame Trump, but I can blame the Clintons. They have people who are in plain clothes just murdering people right now as I'm speaking.
Well, it's like something from the House of Cards, like the Underwoods.
But
right.
And it's really, that's never ending, but I'm telling you, our people going to have to stand up. In fact, I got interviewed by Sister Nisa Muhammad from the Final Call, and she asked me about AFRICOM in Africa and what's my thoughts. And I said, get the hell out of Africa. Africa's not yours. The people, the resources, nothing's yours. You don't belong there. Get out. And I was in the masjid. I would have said, get the F out had I been in the street. I mean, why? I mean, you know, we're coming to a point where there's going to be a confrontation. And the thing I didn't mention, we were talking about it before we started this. There was a white dude who lives in the Bloomingdale section of Washington, D.C. The Bloomingdale section is from like North Capitol Street all the way over to about maybe 3rd Street or Florida Avenue. It's called Bloomingdale. that's where I lived initially in D.C. A white gentleman there had a rapid-fire weapon with lots of clips, and it planned to do a mass shooting in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
His brother committed suicide on an island in the Potomac River that has a statue of Theodore Roosevelt called Roosevelt Island. His brother was somehow connected to the mass shooting in Pittsburgh. And so his brother shot himself. I guess the police were looking for him. He knew his time was up. But this other brother said that the people in Pittsburgh deserved what they got. And the family was so concerned, they told the FBI they picked his ass up. It's getting kind of serious now that white folk begin to snitch on each other. Praise the Lord. They're now getting afraid. I don't know, maybe after a few more mass shootings, folks are going to start realizing that Nazis and Klansmen are just bad business, bad for public health, bad for everything. And I guess ever since they shot up those people at the disco and shot up the synagogue, maybe people wise up. Maybe within a year or two, a few more mass shootings, certain folks will get sick of it. But I can see a day where folks are going to start shooting white men with their guns. They're not going to wait. They're going to in fact, you're going to start seeing drones and other stuff. All this high-tech equipment, it's not for black people. They don't need that to take us out. But all these weapons, these tanks, machine guns and such, that's going to be for white folks who believe in living by the gun. Mm-hmm. And I'm not knocking people having guns, don't get me wrong. But when you want to have machine guns to shoot up people at their place of worship or shoot up a club like that dude, they're going to say he's mentally ill. It's amazing when white folks kill folks that are mentally ill, no matter how well they were mentally before they did it. And when a black person gets shot or even it does something in self-defense, there's never mental, they don't even get to be mental, oh, you meant to do it, you're just a bloodthirsty, right? But that could have been a mass shooting here in D.C. And by the way, Bloomingdale's is right next to Eckington. I live in Eckington. Bloomingdale's is a 2-minute walk from my house. Are you understanding me? Do you realize that they're going to have to, and I'm glad, I don't know if you heard there's been all these discussions that in the FBI and Homeland Security that there was no databases, no research, nobody's doing anything about white male terrorism in America. And I have to give what's his name? John praise. We don't have to like what's in his guts to like the good stuff that he does say from his podium in CNN. And, you can't have a white boo and say the right thing, even though we would rather him be with Shanae versus, John Wayne. But, you can't get everything, not in the same-sex nation we're in, okay? But you agree with him. Did you see that when Don Lemon said that everybody got mad, but you know what? They have been admitting this in the FBI and Homeland Security that they have practically no attention is paid to white male domestic terrorism. Everything is focused on Arabs or others. And I think session's gone. You might see them doing stuff. In fact, for the people in Virginia that were in Charlottesville, I don't know if you heard, they demanded that the people turn over their phones and their computers so they're starting to build that database. And some of these wild and white boys with their Nazis, they're going to get jacked up. I heard in Tennessee that they refuse to condemn Nazis and white supremacists there. They think they're okay. But needless to say, the federal government's going to have to go in and ice some people. I'm talking about, that's one thing that Clinton was doing. Clinton was killing those people when he was there. Shot Randy Weaver's wife, shot the baby. Oh my God. Shot the people in Waco. We don't even want them to shoot the people, but you want them not to mess with us. But these folks are, kill or be killed. That's their approach to humanity, well, they may get their wish. Someone may come and get them. So I anticipate in the next few months a significant increase in government intervention against violent white paramilitary groups, because the stock market went down after those Jews got shot, and it keeps going down. And at a certain point, I know Trump wants those people to vote for him, but nobody wants to get shot because they went to Kroger. Nobody wants to get shot because they went to their house of worship. No one wants to get shot because they're trying to slow drag or do a two-step to some old Patsy Cline music. Nobody can deal with that. That's not living. And, these guys that call themselves involuntary celibates, which is translation for white men that can't get pussy, that want to kill the world because nobody wants them. It's not our fault, okay? And I never heard about shooting up people is not going to help your woody get anything. In fact, it's more likely to get you some woody on the other end in prison if you get that. It's like Dylan Ross is probably being made love to more than Roger Staubach at the height of his fame when he was a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. You haven't heard nothing from him. And he just knew I'm white superior. Yeah, well, we got something for you. I mean, you heard about them just beating his ass up in there. I mean, that's going to be very interesting to see how he makes it. But don't be surprised if we don't start seeing drones and all this experimental warfare stuff being used on domestic threats. I think the synagogue massacre was the beginning of people having to come down on these people. They wouldn't do it for black people, but they will do it for Jews and white people who are getting killed. Only other thing I was going to mention to you is Russia, China. Did you hear the thing that the U.S. not letting Iran sell its oil? And so the Iranians are working out something where they can sell oil and swap it with Europe. I mean, it's really, come on, man. America's just losing its mind. And I don't know. You think Trump can win in 2020?
I mean, who's going to run against him? That's the question. If Hillary run against him, he can win, I believe.
Yeah, well, she's so ugly. People will stay home from the polls, be afraid they have to shake her hand. So I think he's gonna have to change. And this Mitch McConnell, the one that looks like Granny with the turkey neck from the Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone get rid of him. I do think we're entering an age where you might see something that has not been for 50 years, and that's where people began to target political figures for retribution. I hope not, even though these political figures are doing all kinds of evil, but you might. And let me just leave it there for now. Let's pick this up whenever you want to. But I think we have much. We've addressed all kinds of things, and I would love to do more. I'm just hoping that when you recommended that people look at the facade of the American dream, exploded. I hope you do the same thing for Dred Scott Nation. Add that with that. Those are two films.
Okay.
I think it will blow up. In particular, I don't know if you've heard, but they've killed some people down in St. Louis. It's about to blow up down there again.
Oh, yeah, Donye Jones. He was the son of an activist who was involved in Ferguson, Mike Brown stuff. They always call it the hanging of a black person a suicide, but we all know what time it is. He was murdered, basically. You could look at the picture and see he was murdered. He was hanged. He was lynched.
the thing about these folks, I'm going to tell you that bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not defending them. A lot of black folks think they don't need each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I found from some of the people in St. Louis is that you reach out to them, I don't know you, don't speak to me. It was really strange. Like you couldn't connect to them. They didn't allow you to know them. I don't know if you've ever had that experience. Certain people are like standoffish.
I mean, they ran Jesse. They try to run Jesse out of town, Ferguson. I mean, I guess they don't
Well,
take time with the outsiders.
They should have run Jesse out.
They didn't run Al. What about Al, though?
They ran him out, too. You didn't know that?
Well, I mean, he did the eulogy for Mike Brown, even though he didn't know Mike Brown. I mean, he did the eulogy for. I was there.
Right.
You know, yeah. I was compare Al. You know, Al Sharpton to this movie called The Cooler with William Darcy, I believe his name is, and Alec Baldwin, where they help this guy come into the casinos when you're on a hot winning streak. They send a guy in called The Cooler to cool you down, to give you bad luck, to calm people down. I look at Al Sharpton, this type of dude they'll send in just to calm people down, just to be the fire extinguisher. Because like after he come through something, everything just loses momentum. Look at Stephon Clark's situation in Sacramento, or even the Mike Brown situation in Ferguson, where you still got all these black alpha male activists getting killed and nobody's trying to solve what's happened to them. Darren Sills, DeAndre Joshua, I believe his name, and Edward Crawford, the guy who did the picture, who was the famous subject of the picture.
But the problem, I agree with you, but I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to keep saying this to you. I reach out to people all over. I need my people. It's not about me as an individual. I need us.
Oh, yeah.
The reason you saw me in the film was a guy reached out to me, and I says, hell, you want to do an interview as long as you promise you're not going to cut out what I have to say about stuff, I'll say it. I don't care. And he reached out. I reached back. I'm probably the only person that was in the film, and I'm not featured, that's trying to promote it, other than the producer. I would like the brother to succeed. I would have done it whether I was in it or not. You've had me, I'll tell you about people and introduce you to people.
Right.
For example, this is what I want to talk to you about real fast.
Mm-hmm.
I got a friend who's in a real hard spot down in Mobile, Alabama. Her name is Dorothy Gaines. Remember Dorothy Gaines?
That name sounds very familiar.
She was a black grandmother that they threw in jail over bullshit, gave her a 20-year sentence because her ex-boyfriend was a drug addict that said she was his kingpin, and she mandatory minimum and had never done it, had only written a bad check once.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get my cousin who used to fight with Tupac. Remember C. Dolores Tucker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tucker went to Clinton and got her out of jail, but he commuted a sentence. He didn't give her a full pardon. And that the time she spent in jail devastated her family. She's never recovered. Her son got killed on his birthday last year. She's raising like $6 grand and great grandchildren. And she hasn't had any money since she came out of jail in December 2000. She's been out of jail 18 years, and it's been hell. And she reached out to me. She says, I don't know. I'm going to keep the light bill on. My son that was damaged by me being in jail is now in jail. My daughter got molested when I was in jail. She's got problems. She's made all these kids and blah. So she reached out to me. She's the one that helped the Scott sisters. She's really done a lot of stuff to help people, but she's blackballed in terms of income. I can relate to it. I was telling her, Dorothy, they are messing with people who are outspoken, people who stand up. They go after your money. And because black people don't stand together, they run from you too. And therefore, people without an army are undefended people. We're the only people that don't like our own army. We don't have our own CIA. And this is why we suffer. You know, you see someone like yourself, you're standing up, you should be supported. They don't even have to. They don't even have to do it publicly. You know, little retarded ass Michael Jordan could put a check in, not because they like you, but they understand the need for important media and independent black media.
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington, that many people call a coon, used to do that. Used to help black newspapers, help anybody as an activist, even if he didn't like what they were doing, as long as they didn't attack him personally.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays,
His death day was November 14th, right? He died on November 14th.
yes. And you know what else I was going to mention? We're coming up on the 40th anniversary of Jones.
Yeah.
Where they killed like 1,500, mostly black people. That they killed them. They weren't poisoned. They were shot. It's a military operation. We've never been told what really happened down there. Now, what you don't know is people tried to recruit my father into the People's Temple in 1976. Someone wanted to introduce my father to Jim Jones, and my father says, they're not going to kill me and my family. They're all going to die with that white dude. To hell with that. I remember it, and it happened 2 years later. That's 2 times I remember my dad was talking about a revolution in Liberia. My mother wanted to go to Liberia to do missionary work, and my father refused to let her go. Says that, you know, you're light skinned, you'll stand out, they'll kill your ass when they have the revolution. Stay home. And as just as sure as we were going to Australia, what was in the Time magazine were the pictures of the execution of the Liberian ministers on the beach. And, but Jim Jones, yep, they certainly had people try to recruit my dad to work with them, and my dad turned it down. And yep, people saw this. You know, Jim Jones was in the United Church of Christ. Jim Jones was a pedophile and a homosexual, and the United Church of Christ is the same church that Obama's in, that Jeremiah Wright's in, that Bishop Mantitty, that fat slob William Barber's in. Yeah, I said it about him, who's a fraud. All of them come out of the UCC, and the UCC has been the main black group, church group pushing the LGBTQ thing. And most people don't realize that Jim Jones ran the Democratic Party in the state of California. Senator Feinstein and all these people that you see, Jerry Brown and others, worked hand in hand with Jim Jones. They knew about the black kids and women getting raped, but they got theirs. So the Democratic Party today is run by the people who benefited from the mass murder of black people in South America.
And also, Leo Ryan, the congressman, get killed from California down there.
Yeah, Congressman Ryan. I used to work with the guy whose name is Charles Krause. He was the Republican survived that got shot. Yeah, Ryan went. By the way, Jim Jones was a CIA asset, and they do have a division in the CIA that studies the black church. And that's why they're using these churches to keep black people stupid and down. And notice after Jonestown, all these mega churches sprouted up. These big, rich black churches don't do shit for nobody half the time. They keep black people down. And in fact, a lot of these mega churches have gone in with the same stuff that Jim Jones was down for, was the gay agenda. So they talk about liberation and freedom, and they're really pushing filth. And he talked liberation theology, and you'll find, I think I told you about Reverend Barber's Black Liberation Theology, where Jesus Christ is a homosexual man. And blacks are comprised of 3 groups: blacks, women, and homosexuals. Oh, yes. Another date coming up on the 22nd will be the day that they killed Kennedy. He got killed in 1963, so it'll be 55 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be 10 years since they killed David Johnson, the black guy murdered in San Jose State, hit him in the head with a pickaxe. They said he hung himself.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging. His mother's a friend of mine.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff's going on. And as you know, November 2nd was Dessalin's birthday. So people are raising hell in Haiti. I mentioned Haiti before.
Mm-hmm.
Just your eyes peeled on what's going down. And we'll pick this back up. I'm thinking we're going to see some more. I don't even know. I hope not, but brother, don't be surprised if you don't see a lot of insanity around and over this whole season, okay, of from Thanksgiving into, in fact, you're going to see a lot of, it's come with the holidays because the stock market's going down. Don't be surprised if you don't see a lot of tragedies begin to really shake this country. And I don't know if you saw the situation in Israel, where the Palestinians did a little bit of fighting back, and the Israelis, a couple of them got killed. They were shot. They want to go after Hezbollah, but they ain't bad enough. Something else happening. Have you noticed they've been having an epidemic of black men killing each other in London?
Oh, no, I haven't heard about that. I mean, are they killing each other with guns or knives or?
Knives. There's lots of stabbings.
Okay.
When I last looked, there'd been 6 murders in 6 days.
Wow.
And this basically Caribbean stabbing each other. You know, the Africans and Caribbeans do good in America because black Americans shoulder the brunt of the abuse, and they're able to skim the cream off the top. But over in England, they have to shoulder their own racial stuff there. And they're beginning to crack up after years and years of racism and so forth. And, you know, all of them over there are really big into white women. You'll find almost 100% of the black men over there either married to or dating white women. I mean, all we're saying is give black cooch a chance. That's what we need to have a big protest down there. All we are saying is sisters a chance, because sisters don't get no love over there. And they'll be with white men, and the black men will be with white men or white women. Not all, but it's disproportionate. I mean, it'll blow your mind, especially if they're Caribbean or African. It's about 90% of them marry white. So for all the women who beef and complain about the black man, 1 or 2 that they see in America, in reality, the African-American woman is very spoiled. She's got the optics or the logic of a dodo bird when she looks at her black man. She only sees faults half the time. Compared to other black men in diaspora, the black American men prefer black women. I can tell you the Africans and everybody else prefer white women. And Brazil, I was talking to this beautiful Peruvian woman named Virginia, and she was just saying how in Peru, she was surprised. We had like a 2-hour conversation in my little broken-ass Spanish. Black men overlook them. Where I'm coming from, they don't even try to look at them. A lot of black women here beef all the time, but it's compared to what? It's what I normally ask black folks who haven't traveled, or don't pay attention, or so interested in downing one another until they don't think. If they go over to England and find out that basically the men won't marry them, if they go to Brazil and the men all want white women, right? No matter how fine women are. And we're not talking about all the sisters here being fine, you know, like the 2-seater ones who want to act like they're models. Yeah, you're a model for the Mayo Clinic before. You're not a model. It's not. I'm talking about some fine women in Latin America, black. I've been there to Brazil. Brothers not even speaking to them because they're black.
Mm.
And you hear women here screaming. They got their hair dyed blonde. And all. I mean, got more tattoos. They look like a graffiti bridge instead of a person. And worried about someone not talking to them. You got kids by 9 men, and say all the men want white women. No, they don't want you. They don't want white women. They want a black woman that does have a lot of baggage. But these sisters in other countries, are completely out of the running. And the sisters here are hostile. You can't even speak to them half the time. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen that? I mean, you're not just hi. I don't speak. I don't know if it's a depot or the birth control pills that made them all evil, but in comparison to other places I've been, black American men on average, at least at a certain level, prefer sisters. They do. Other places I've been, the men prefer white women and others. And from 1 out of 3 sisters marrying white men, I tend to think sisters prefer white men. A large number of them do. And then they're honest about it. And so, I'm not saying all, but it's a significant number. I remember being in elementary school junior high school, and the black girls would rave about how fine the white men were on the soap operas.
Mm.
I know you said that. Oh, he's cute. You don't hear black men doing that stuff typically about white women, do you?
Mm.
No. Okay. And so, yeah, I know I get on. I hope I made some of your audience mad. There's a certain type of black woman that hates criticism. Grow up, broad.
What do you think about that? The Washington Post article about black men are not defending black women. Like, I guess because of what April Ryan was about the White House, Trump shut them down, and they thought it was disrespecting black women.
You know, I met April Ryan maybe. Let's stop looking at 97. Okay. 21 years ago, I stopped working for public television. I'm pretty certain I met April Ryan back then. If I'm correct, April Ryan wouldn't even speak to me at my place of work. And I've met others of these sisters, these power sisters. They're not nice people. When do they advocate for black men? Did April Ryan advocate for all the black men that were being killed when Obama was president? Hell no. These sisters want something for nothing. I feel this way. You just heard me advocate for Dorothy Gaines.
Right.
I've never met Dorothy Gaines, but when I heard a black grandmother was in jail, I did everything I could to help her get out, because it's a black woman, a grandmother. You know, my grandmother died my father's mother died when she was 40, which means I never met my grandmother. So I've always had to think about grandmothers. I heard a black grandmother was in jail. I dropped everything I did and started advocating to find a way to get her out of jail. One of the things I'll tell you, some of the most heartless people that I went to ask for help for Dorothy were black women that were professionals.
Mm.
Some of the most heartless, vicious, cold, selfish, I almost used the word, are professional black women that could do better, who've been put in position, and all they do is they are just as no good as to sell out black men. I'm going to give you a professional black woman experience today.
Mm-hmm.
We had an ice storm here in D.C. My mother is 77 years old, right?
Mm.
There was this thing that they had in Hampton, Virginia, and they have this women's summit. The roads, there's a travel advisory. It's not safe. There's black ice. It's dangerous, right?
Right.
My mother has tunnel carpal syndrome at both wrists and issues with her knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's icy. It's unsafe. The roads are bad.
Oh, yeah. Right.
My mother calls this broad up because I told my mother, you know what? I wouldn't just drive up out of here. because our street is so narrow. It's easy to hit another car. That's thousands of dollars. It's insurance, right? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Call this lady and find if they have any alternative plans for this morning. You know what that broad told my mother? There are no changes, even with the night storm, right?
Uh-huh.
So I get the snow enough, sweet stuff, and the snow and ice continues. Ice continues to come down. So, well, did she? You need to call her again. She got a voicemail. I told you need to call her again. When my mother got on the phone, the lady is basically she's acting like a female with a dick.
Mm.
Basically, I call her. She's being a bitch, like a lot of folks are. Instead of saying this woman's almost 80, there's ice everywhere. She tells my mother that there's no ice over where they are.
That's crazy.
And that the streets are clear. Okay? Were it a man, he'd be an asshole. He'd be a sexist. He'd be insensitive. With this feminism bullshit in our community, women aren't accountable. They can be heartless, cruel, nasty, evil, self-centered jackasses, but they're females and women have suffered. So whatever they do evil and wrong, mostly to other women and children, by the way, it's okay because men are so bad. Do you get that?
Wow.
And so I started loud talking, saying, Mom, what the hell God does this broad serve? What part does she not get that it's icy over here? Do you want me to answer the phone and talk to her? The fake-ass people like you. That's why people don't like going to church, because of bogus-ass women like you, power sisters like you who need to get their behinds kicked. Then my mother began to cover up the phone. When the lady learned, I'm not bowing down, I don't give a damn about your feminism and all this stuff that you black women are running around like criminals doing, then all of a sudden I realized I don't buy into that. And I'm old queen, yes, fuck that. That's my mother.
That's right.
Maybe you don't care, which you don't, and you would be someone in church giving someone instructions. That's why people don't go to church. Half the reason they don't go are the nasty, vicious women in there. I'm not talking about the nice ones that you go to meet to get married. The mean ones, the vicious ones, the bulldagger, man-hating kind that, you know, that have all the answers to everything. They're so close to God and they got 50 kids in jail. These kind of people.
That's right.
Bad mothers who are no good mothers. The boys are gay and the girls are gay, or they're killers or they're selling drugs, and their mothers living for the Lord. We got too many of them, and nobody calls them out. And yes, men abandon women, beat women's behinds and all that, but where's your soul? What kind of person are you, broad? You Jack the Ripper with a vagina. That's the only difference. You're just as heartless and cruel as any man. We don't do that in America. Women are to be held accountable because women have been oppressed. So if I want to pour sulfuric acid on my baby, well, my man was mean to me. So damn the baby, right? I hate that. Don't you hate it too, her? I don't care. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it's a problem. It's a disconnect.
All the ladies out here, I'm not saying all. It's definitely not my mother. My mother's a sweetheart. It's not my grandmother. It's not my aunt. But do I know some crazy, out-of-control women that belong in the female version of Rikers Island in the hole? They kept away from children like the little broads at the street that I would watch give PCP to their kids. And if you say anything you don't like, you know, they're like gays and Jews. You can't say anything or you hate them. When I do wrong, you hate me if you say anything. Bullshit. And someone should hate you. You're not lovable. Damn.
Wow.
Once I went off on that lady, and my mother knew I was, you know, she got someone to come and pick my mother up. But shouldn't that have been the first thing? Shouldn't that? The Bible talks about, they only do one half of it. They talk about men losing natural affection, but it also says women lose it. We can talk about men that are gay, but we don't talk about the bulldagger type women out here, nasty, man-hating broads, walk around in men's clothes, and that's cool. By the way, that's drag for women. When I was at the little thing for for the Moonies, I saw this black woman dressed up. She looked like Idris Elba, but he was pretty.
Man.
Yeah, it's real talk. It's real talk.
So she was the sexiest man alive.
Daddy's Little Girls. She had on the same jeans that he had on Daddy's Little Girls when he was working on the cars.
Wow.
Okay, now, and they don't put them out of church, and that's something else. If you're going to put the man that dressed like a woman, throw out the women that are dressed like men, even if they're just two people left.
Mm.
So, women, a lot of these women don't have natural affection. Abortion, they think abortion is preferred to childbirth. Leaving a man is better than staying with a man. Being cold, leaving your kid in a hot car while you're getting your nails done. You hear all these cases, these women baking kids in cars, and a lot of them are black.
Mm.
We're the backbone of the community. Well, fuck, if we've got scoliosis, we need a new backbone or a brace because you ain't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my mother. And this broad is going to try to tell her, just come on over. The streets are clear where I am. Okay? And this is why a lot of women don't like female supervisors and won't vote for women to be president and governor and other things. Because deep down inside, women that are honest don't like this Wild West lack of accountability that they see in a lot of other women. And they're disappointed that there are not enough men like you and I that say that that's garbage. I don't care if a woman likes what I said. Why am I supposed to please them all the time? They're not my woman. Damn. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't like me. I don't have your phone number, your email. We're not pen pals. I don't care if you hate me. And if I don't like you, that's fine. What's the thing that black men have to like? We have to always make them feel good, always take them flowers. I gotta give them credit. You know what? With all of that candy buying and pedicures and meals out, do you know which group of women lead the industrial world in getting divorces?
Who that?
Black American women. Sisters need a reality check. They need a real damn reality check as compared to white women, Hispanic women, black women in particular. The better educated they are, the harder it is for them to be married. And I know really nice guys that are in the process of divorce where they wash dishes, they wash the kids. You see white men doing the dishes, washing the kids, taking the kids. I've never seen it. I see black men pushing baby strollers. It says more than I see a white man or Asian man or Chinese man. No. But because the women hate the brothers so much because of white supremacy, none of reality matters. So the man that cleans around the house. In fact, I'll tell you a quickie. I remember my father was doing marriage counseling. First time I ever sat in, well, maybe the second time I sat in my father doing marriage counseling. And this woman came in with her husband that she had told my father was just a terrible man. He was no good. And she just couldn't get anything. He was such an awful person, whatever. She wanted my father, like a lot of women use these little effeminate, pedophile, rapist, lying, chiseled preachers to be their backup. When they can't call the cops, they call the preacher out on their husband. Mm-hmm. To kind of sell out traitor coon broads we have in our community. You can't go talk to your man head to head. Now, I'm talking about a bad man. Not for a man putting his hands on a woman, but what about the men that don't beat up women? Because all men aren't beating up women. A lot of women beat up on men. A lot of women kill men, and it happens. And, if it's a self-defense, more power to it. But if she's a pepperhead, I don't believe that she can swing on him and him not swing back. That's okay. Sorry. I've never hit a female in my life, never planned to. But I can't promise you if someone came and started hitting on me, I'm not going to swing back and defend myself. In fact, I'm fairly certain I'm going to fight for my life. If you come for it, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, having said that, this woman just told my father, he's this, he's that. So my father says, well, she has all these problems with you, sir. What problem do you have with your wife? He didn't have anything to say. And my father says, we have a communication problem. So he said to her, well, since your husband has no complaints about you, let me ask you some questions about your husband. He says, does he work? She says, yes. Does he earn enough money? She says, yes. Does he bring the money home? She says, yes. Does he pay the bill? She says, yes. He says, does he do work around the house? She said, yes. Does he go to church with you? Yes. Does he share any other duties with you, like shopping? She says, yes. What kind of father? Is he a mean father? Is he a caring father? Is he a caring father? Do the children like him? Yes. Does he spend time with the children? Yes. Does he spend time with you? She said, yes. He says, is he violent? Does he hit you or use inappropriate language to you? She said, no. He said, does he see other women? She said, no. Does he gamble? She says, no. Does he drink? No. Does he use drugs? No. Says, is he messing with men? Not that I know of. I don't think so. No. My father says, you just told me that your husband is less than zero, but you described a fairly decent man. I mean, he's there. He doesn't cheat. He does work around the house. He likes the kids. He goes to church. He won't put his hands on you. He doesn't disrespect you. He pays bills. And you're telling me that this man is awful. But you haven't given me something that I can believe to take your word. And he won't say anything's wrong with you. So my father says, well, let me just get to this. He says, well, how often do you guys have sex? 3 times a week? Twice a week? Once a week? Then my father, once in a quarter. And the guy starts crying. He says, shut up, you punk. And my father says, well, I'm going to save your marriage. I can save it in 2 months. I just says, well, how are you going to do that? My father says, blowjobs. Blowjobs twice a week for 2 months. Your marriage will be back in no time. And the lady says, I can't believe that. My father says, believe it. He says, well, what kind of man of God are you? He says, I'm an honest one. Says, now you asked me, I gave you a free consultation. I could have charged you $500. I gave it for free. I'm telling you, your husband needs blowjob twice a week. You'll have the happiest family ever. She dragged her husband out. We never saw them again. Mm-hmm. What was the problem there? Instead of the black man always being the monster that never does anything right, he doesn't work, he's not educated, he's holding her down. In reality, the women who are so powerful, they withhold sex or they brutalize a man emotionally. And I know a lot of men that are married with women who don't have sex with their husbands as a means for control and often cheat on them. Mm-hmm. And the black man, if he goes to court, he's going to lose, right? Mm-hmm. So the black woman has so much power until she's what I call a social hermaphrodite. She's basically a hermaphrodite without the penis. Mm. And that means that you've got 2 heads instead of on one body, 2 heads is a freak. You can't have a union between man and woman with a woman trying to be head and a man being head. Mm. And it's very interesting. You put that same woman who can't work with a man being head, put her with the stud who will kick her behind and she won't call the cops. And she will be feminine and submissive.
Wow.
What is that all about? Why is that? And I asked one of my students when I was down at Lane, I said, what's the difference between the girl you're seeing now and the boy you broke up 6 months ago? And I said, you're taking too long. I said, she beats your ass twice as often with a fist twice as small. and she doesn't pay for pussy, he did. Looks like you've taken a financial loss. She dropped my class.
Mm.
And I didn't say she couldn't do that. I was only saying that he paid, he even subsidized you screwing her. All he wanted you to do is give him some of what you gave her. Now you cut him out, and now you don't have his money, and she beat you behind. He never did. And the cops says, if they come, girl, it's crisscross. They'll throw both of your asses in jail. See, if you hit him and you call the police, they'll throw him in jail because he's a black man. It's America. A woman punches you out, y'all, if you fight back, you both go to jail. You see, the black women are going to have to repent of accepting that white privilege, that white supremacist privilege of being a jackass towards the black man, especially if he's a good one.
Mm-hmm.